Great day, my friend. Let's bring the political panel to break all of this down now. With me here in the studio is former campaign staffer with Al Gore's presidential campaign, Sasha Burns. Good to see you, Sasha.
You too, Jonathan.
And joining us from Miami, former advisor to John Huntsman's presidential campaign, Ed Pozzuoli. Good to see you, Ed.
Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Let me come to you first, sir. What do you make of this whole Cory Booker? What did he mean? Did he mean what he said? What does he mean now? Kerfuffle?
Well, I watched it. I don't know how you could take the comments out of context, but maybe we're missing a part of the story that needs to be examined. What happened between the time Cory Booker says what he said on Meet the Press, and then later that afternoon, all of a sudden, he does the backstroke on some of those comments? What happened between point A and point B? Did someone from the Obama administration come and persuade, cajole, coerce, hammer Cory Booker into seeing things differently from one point to the other? Again, I think that's a piece of the story that we're missing.
Sasha, what do you think? I mean, you've been involved in campaigns just as Ed has. Somebody who is not necessarily a big national figure, but somebody who nonetheless has some degree of weight when they speak within the party, says something that the campaign doesn't like. Do you think that they will have gone out and said, what the heck do you think you're doing, Mr. Mayor?
Absolutely, but Cory specifically said that he was there with surrogate notes, that he was there speaking. I mean, to be a surrogate means you're speaking on behalf of the campaign. So, you know, to be serving in that capacity and then say something that directly contradicts it is not what you do. So, yeah, I'm absolutely sure, Ed, that they called him and said, you know, what the heck are you doing? You're not speaking for us. And that's not different than it would be in any other situation. But, you know, as much as Republicans can thank Cory Booker for what he just said, we can thank Newt Gingrich, Rick Perry. They said the exact same things, actually even going farther, talking about Romney at Bain and vulture capitalism.
And Ed, what about the bigger point here? It's a little in the weeds probably for most of our viewers, us talking about who may have said what to whom, etc. But the bigger picture here is Mitt Romney's record at Bain Capital reasonable material for criticism, praise, for judging him his own economic possibilities?
Well, first, let me answer your question. I think it does, because it shows that Mitt Romney, as opposed to President Obama, actually understands the economy and understands the flow of capital, understands what it means to make a payroll, to make difficult decisions, to run and make a business more efficient so they can deliver goods and services to the marketplace. But on the second point here is the administration essentially came to Cory Booker between point A and point B and exercised its full force and power and made him change his tune. That poor guy looked so uncomfortable in that video Sunday afternoon. He looked so uncomfortable yesterday afternoon when he changed his mind about what he said in Meet the Press. Somebody from the president's team went there and put the full force of the presidency on the mayor, and he changed his mind. That's the story here. It's the same thing that we're seeing in the Obama administration, knowing no bounds to government intervention, government imposition, government tyranny, frankly, in the marketplace, on the Catholic Church, on certain Catholic and religious institutions. This is the same story and the same theme. That's the bigger issue here, Jonathan.
Sasha, one of our viewers weighing in here saying, could you ask Sasha, all for jury says, could you ask Sasha if this Cory Booker affair will be the end of the era of partisan politics or an entrenchment of the partisan hacks? I think if you want it to be the end of an era of partisan politics, all for jury, that is really wishful thinking.
You know, and here's the answer to that, and here's the problem, is that everyone says that they don't like negative campaigning, but they do. It works. They only don't like negative campaigning against their own guy. They love it against the other guy. And if you look at whether or not it works, Newt Gingrich, once he went into the vulture capitalism of Bain and against Romney on that front, it took him over the top in South Carolina. It absolutely works. And so whether or not Carl was talking about the poll of whether or not the record at Bain affects people. What people do say is that they believe because, or some do, believe that because Romney is a businessman, that he therefore would have the experience, what you just said, Ed. But the reality is, did he in fact create jobs? Where does anybody have any proof? Where does he say that he created jobs? And you know what we could do to make it less partisan is go with the record that Romney has that he runs away from, which would be completely laudatory about what he did in Massachusetts, which was create Obamacare, which was support gay rights, gun control, and pro-choice. So we can just go anti-partisan and do this, you're the greatest Mitt Romney for what you did in Massachusetts.
All right, a couple of other